and welcome. Today I'm going to play Białystok 1920. This is a two-part scenario released in the 47th issue of Taktyka and Strategia magazine. And this is expansion for Warsaw 1920 game. You can play this game in two separate ways. As a standalone scenario, and then you have to play first scenario and then second scenario, or you can play them as mini campaign, playing one scenario after another, including the losses from the first scenario in the second scenario. I'm going to play them as the two separate scenarios, and here I'm going to play the first scenario about the Polish attack on Białystok. Why even attacking Białystok? Well, you may ask. Well, after the Polish victory in the Battle of Warsaw at August 1920, Soviets have no other way but to retreat quickly. But one of the major gateways to the east was the city of Białystok, and a Polish goal was to capture this city and block Soviet shortest way of retreat. And to make it happen, Polish army sent its 1st Infantry Division to do so, but the problem was that this division had a long way to go, and it could not reach the entire city with its main forces. So the Polish commander sent a separate group of the Polish units to drive Soviets away of Białystok, and then to wait until the main force of the division will arrive. The question is if the Polish force was enough to capture and keep the city. Well, Soviets weren't very strong there. Actually, there was only a single battalion there. Technically it was a regiment, but when it comes to its regular strength it was more a battalion, and a small group of Soviet cavalry. So it wasn't a big deal to drive them off the city. But the problem was that the more and more Soviets were about to arrive in no time, and Poles had not only to seize the Białystok, but to withstand the mass of the Soviet units that were making their best to retreat east. So this is one day scenario, and it takes 3 turns. And when it comes to the victory conditions, well, Soviets get victory points for each of their units that is in Białystok. And if they will manage to capture the entire Białystok, then they get instant victory, and they get 2 victory points for each Polish unit being destroyed, while Poles get 2 victory points for each Soviet unit destroyed. When it comes to the special scenario rules, there aren't many. Initiative is Polish, so Polish units are first to go. There are no supply rules, and Soviets, if they want, can leave the board through 2400 and 3006 hexes. So this means that from here to there, but this is player's choice, because they get this point, this way as their way of retreat in the second scenario. So this is probably more important when you play these two scenarios together. And one more important thing, in the first turn Polish units have only half of their movement points. This is because they were already marching hard for the entire night to reach Białystok, so these soldiers are quite tired. So we can start our game, and when it comes to the Polish units, remember they have only 3 movement points. 1, 2, 3. 1, and they are in the enemy zone of control, so they have to stop. 1 and 1. 1, 2, 3. So that's all when it comes to the Polish movement, and now I can resolve the attacks. Well, I have only one attack to resolve, and This is 12 versus 2, so it is 6-1. Now, here it is. And they are in the city hex, this dark hex, so they have -2. So it is 6-1, and -2, it is 4-1. And this is 7. 7 in the 4-1, this is B2. So Soviets have to retreat 2 hexes, and Polish units can perform 2 hexes pursuit. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, and I have to make a roll for Soviet disorganization. If I will get 10 to 12, they are disorganized. Well, they are not. Okay, Soviets. And just like Polish units, Soviet units can only spend a half of their movement points in the first turn. They are also pretty spent because of long march from Warsaw to Białystok. So 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. So that's all for these 3 regiments. And now, when it comes to these 2 units that are still in Białystok, I think that the best thing they can do is to fortify themselves, especially this cavalry, since they want to hold their positions until reinforcements will arrive. So that's all. Since they are fortified, they don't have to attack anyone, and that's their plan, because, well, attacking Polish units would be a suicidal thing. So this concludes turn 1. We are moving into turn 2. As you can see, the majority of the Polish forces is about to enter the game in the turn 3. So they are actually being more useful in the second scenario, because in the first scenario we will see them for a little short time. So this is turn 2, and what Poles are going to do? Well, they want to stop Soviets from entering Białystok, so it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, no, 1, 2, 3, or maybe 1, 2, nope, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I cannot. I wanted to reach that hex, but seems like impossible thing to do, because here I would be again in their zone of control, so I would have to stop. So nothing else to do. So I will try to drive them away. And this regiment attacks this Soviet battalion. So we have 12 versus 2, so this is 6-1, and they are in the city, so this is 4-1, and they are fortified, so it's 3-1, and since they are fortified in the city, this is 2-1, so this is 2-1, and we got 4. That's pretty good result. In the 2-1, this is B2 and the dot. So Soviets have to retreat 2 hexes, and they have to undergo a morale check. They passed, and now because there was a dot, then the Polish units also have to undergo a morale check. First this battalion, they passed, and these 2 battalions, they passed. So I can perform pursuit. It will be like that. And now these 2 battalions are attacking this Soviet cavalry group. I have 8 versus 2, so it is 4-1, and 3-1 because of the fortification, 2-1, 1-1 because of the city, and 1-2 because of the fortification in the city. So it's 1-2. Well, this is going to be a harder thing to do than the previous attack. And 4 again. That's good. This is dot and B1. So Soviets have to retreat 1 hex, so they don't have to undergo a morale check, because you have to undergo a morale check if you retreat 2 or more hexes. But since there was a dot, then Polish unit has to undergo a morale check. They passed, so this unit performs a pursuit here. So that's all for the Polish movement, and now Soviets. Okay. So Soviet units are approaching Białystok, and what are they going to do? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I'm going to make these 2 regiments attack here. Sorry, these 2 divisions. And now 1, and this battalion regiment will fortify itself here. So that's all when it comes to the Soviet attacks. And now let's let's resolve their attacks. And first, we have a Soviet division here. They have 7, and the other Soviet division here, they also have 7. So it's 14 versus 4. This gives us 3-1, and next we have 4-1 and 5-1, because we have 2 Soviet divisions here, and if division attacks together we get +1 modifier. So this is 5-1 and 4-1, 3-1 because of the city. So it is 3-1 and 9. This is B1. So Polish battalion retreats 1 hex, Soviets move here, and now this group, we have the entire division and the cavalry group, so they have 9 versus 4, this is 2-1, 3-1 because of the division, 2-1, 1-1 because of the city. So it is 1-1 and 6, this is B1. So Polish unit has to retreat 1 hex only. So the situation goes quite historically accurate, because, like I said, Poles were able to drive Soviets off the city in the initial attack, but when more Soviet units arrived, then Poles found it pretty hard to hold the entire city. And now we are going to play final turn of the first scenario, and this big Polish group is about to arrive, so let's set them up to see from which hexes they are going to arrive. So here they are. You can see that, well, they are in some distance from the Białystok, so we will have to remember about it when we are going to move. Well, most important thing is that we have a commander of the 1st Division, Colonel Dąb Biernacki. He was one of the worst Polish commanders during the 1939 campaign, but in this war he did pretty well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he will be able to support his units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will be able to use this artillery here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, when it comes to the units in the Białystok itself, I wonder, what should I do here? I will of course try to drive them away, because I have to do it, otherwise they will get a lot of victory points. That's something I would rather like to avoid. And now, this cavalry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this battalion goes here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or maybe not, 8 and 9, so let them block this part of the city. And now I have a couple of attacks to resolve. So first of all, I'm going to attack here with these 3 battalions, and they have 12 versus Soviet units that have 9. So I will give them artillery support. So they have 12 plus 6, so this is 18. 18 versus 9, this is 2 to go. And now, 2 to go. 2 to 1. 3 to 1 because of the commander. And that's all. And now Soviets. 2 to 1 because the entire division. 1 to 1 and 1 to 2 because they are in the city. So it is 1 to 2. Well, not the best odds that we would like to have, but still the best we can get. So this is 5 in the 1 to 2, this is -1, -1. So each side suffers 1 point loss. That's not good. And now the other battle. This group, it contains 11 and 15 versus 7. So it's 2 to 1, 3 to 1 because of the commander, 2 to 1 because of the division, 1 to 1, 1 to 2 because of the city. So it's again 1 to 2. And well, I hope we'll do better this time, but in fact, to drive Soviets off the city, we need to get 4 or less on the 2d6. That's not going to be easy. 7. Oh, this is A1. So Poles have to retreat 1 hex. That's bad. That's very bad. And Soviet division enters that hex. So this is going to be bad because about half of the city is already captured by Soviets. No, this is not how it should be. Okay, and now Soviets. What are they going to do now? Well, they did their job pretty well, and surprisingly good. And I think, well, their goal isn't to destroy as many Polish units as possible, but rather to hold the city until the other Soviet units will arrive. And driving Poles away might be still quite hard. Why? Because Poles are still holding half of the city in their hands, and as you probably noticed already, attacking units that are already in the city is probably hard, because they get this annoying +2 modifier for the defense. So I think that Soviets can do their best with simply defending themselves now. And the only offensive operation I will do is to drive this Polish cavalry off here. And I have 7 plus 2 is 9. 9 versus 2 is 4 to 1. 5 to 1 because of the division. 4 to 1 because of the woods. Let me check. For the woods, yes, this is +1. So it is 4 to 1 and wow, 5. 5 in the 4 to 1, this is B3. So Polish unit has to retreat 3 hexes, 1, 2 and 3, and Soviets are going to move 1, 2 and 3, and their cavalry 1, 2 and 3. Okay. And now I have to make a disorganization check for Polish cavalry, and because it gets B3, it has to make 2 rolls. First one, this is good, and the other one, it's good as well. So this unit is not disorganized. Okay, so this concludes the first scenario for this battle. Well, you can see it was pretty short, and I think that Soviets get a major victory. Yes, because they get 3, 6 and 9 points, because they have 9 units in the Białystok, and they destroyed no Polish units, but Poles failed to destroy even a single Soviet unit, so they get no victory point in this scenario. It might change later, because the other second scenario, which is focused on Polish defense, has different victory conditions, because in the second scenario Soviets have to retreat from the board instead of fighting. But, well, that would be another story. That's all for today. Thank you for watching and see you next time.